Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, hello, Jacqueline. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. Oh, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Um, well, if you are okay with this, I'd like to suggest that we drop in together. This helps us both get present and resourced for this conversation. So if that's all right.
That sounds good.
Okay, good. The first part of the practice, this is called a polyvagal orienting practice, and I'm going to ask you to just keep your eyes open for this part. And without moving your head, just let your eyes slowly scan the room from left to right and notice objects, colors, textures, just things in the room without judging them. Just notice them getting really anchored into your space. And now, if it feels right, go ahead and close your eyes. And with your feet on the floor, press down and notice the earth supporting you. Feel that support under your feet and that grounding that we're coming here together today with.
I'm going to take my shoes off. So I can
Okay,
feel that.
even better.
Okay.
Okay, so with your feet bare to the floor, um, feel yourself grounded, connecting to the earth. And take a deep breath in where you inhale safety and exhale all the tension and any stress you might be carrying with you today. And take another deep breath in and inhale safety. And then exhale any tension and stress. And let's take one more big deep breath in, filling up your lungs, chest, and abdomen. And then on the exhale, sigh it out. Just release everything right out into the sigh. When you're ready, come back into the space
Hmm.
and notice, did anything shift for you or feel more
I
present?
noticed my shoulders kind of relaxed on that last one, so that felt good.
Nice, good, good. Okay, excellent. Well, what I'm going to suggest for our time today is that we're going to have a discussion about what you shared with me about your experience with San Pedro in week 3, and we'll consider the dosage that you're currently on, and we'll go through some integration practices that I think will help you regulate, and then we'll close with something called container breathing. It's an exercise to um, help you kind of get regulated if you're feeling activated or dispersed. So does that sound okay for today?
Sure, sure.
Excellent. Okay. So I got your text and your message on Signal, and you had mentioned that you were feeling super sensitive in week 3. And just curious if you could tell me a little bit more about that and where you're feeling it in your body, your emotions, your life. How is that showing up for you?
Yeah, well, so as you know, I increased the dosage there to the two tablets, or the capsules, so it's 100.
Mhm.
And it was fine at first. I started noticing it, and then last week it was almost like I was it's almost like I was premenstrual and super sensitive, and things that normally don't bother me were starting to get to me, and way more than normal. And I just felt like kind of on edge because of that, and was not comfortable. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. And am I on the right track? Is this normal? Like it feels a little weird.
Okay. Okay. A couple of questions just to help clarify, though. Is this uh, sensitivity constant? Does it come in waves? And like, when would it be strongest? When you notice it most?
Actually, the day after dosing.
Okay.
So the days in between, I hadn't really thought about that, but it was more like it wasn't on dosing days, it was the day after.
Okay.
And I was doing it like every other day, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it was in between mostly.
Okay. And how would you say it's different than maybe other anxiety you felt before microdosing?
Oh, I don't know if it's different. I just haven't felt it in a while.
Mm,
And it just it bothered me because little things shouldn't get to me, and but it was just bringing up some stuff around, like my relationship and things that have been bothering me. It's almost like things that have been bothering me a little bit were bothering me more.
okay.
Trying to kind of deal with that.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So like an amplification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And what part of this sensitivity feels like information your body's communicating to you?
What do you mean? I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
So, the sensitivity that you're experiencing is possibly not a problem to be solved, but something that your body's communicating to you. And so rather than possibly considering it as something to diminish, it could be something that your body is wanting you to know about. So, uh,
Hmm.
yeah, ways that you're experiencing different things and just how your body's processing what's happening right now.
That basically stuff is coming up that I don't want to look at. I think that's part of the problem. Is bringing up some issues that I'm going to have to face, and that's actually a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I need to figure out how to manage some of that stuff. So this is really good information, but maybe I'm just uncomfortable with what it's showing me. Like I need to find more balance in my life,
Mm.
and I need to figure out how to do that. And that's an uncomfortable realization. But I'm really glad it's bringing it up because I need to figure that out. So
Mm.
it's really vivid and it's showing me I've got to find some balance.
Mm. Mhm. Right. So these messages, they're coming to you. And then, I mean, this is for all of us, right? We get messages from our body, from our emotions, and our task is to figure out, what to do with it, how to manage it, what does it mean, and then make a plan, for going forward. So I think we're kind of at a point where we're talking about the strong emotions that you have in this microdosing, and you have some choices in terms of how to handle it. So, I'm hearing that it's the sensitivity has been difficult. Um,
But
that you,
revealing, but very
yes,
revealing.
right, and that you are considering that there may be some things you have to look at that are challenging for you, and that may be creating some resistance. And that's part of what's uncomfortable. So you have some choices. Well, you always have choices, right? It's the whole thing is about choices. But here's sort of what's coming to me. And heightened sensitivity in week 3 is actually pretty common. What's happening is the medicine is opening you up, which is really what you wanted for this emotional regulation. It's just possible that the aperture is a little bit too wide right now, and maybe we might want to narrow that. So this opening up is what we want when we microdose. That's like part of the process is we're like exploring and opening and expanding, but sometimes it may be too much. So you have could consider either staying at this current dose and writing it out. Sensitivity often integrates around week 4 or 5, so it's possible that, after a week or two, it could start to regulate a little bit better naturally. Um, because your nervous system is learning how to hold more. So, that's an option. You could drop it back. You could find that sweet spot. Maybe this 2 capsules is too much, but and one is not enough, but 1.5 might be just perfect for you. That might help keeping that balance. And it's still therapeutic, but maybe not overwhelming. You can always go back up later. Um, and then you could also, a third option would be to keep at the current dose, but add an extra day of rest so that you're doing 1 day on, and instead of 1 day off and 1 day on, you go 1 day on, 2 days off, then another day, 2 days off. And so what that does is it gives your system a little more time to integrate and less accumulation in your body. So those are just the three obvious options that come up. How do those strike you?
Actually, the extra day of pause sounds really good because it's like I don't want to ignore the messages, so I want to kind of ride it and hear more, but it has been really intense. So that feels right to kind of take a little bit more of a pause and maybe we'll check in next week, see where I'm at. Maybe I'll go down a little bit, but I'm gonna ride it out for another week and see what happens.
Okay.
But I'd love to kind of, yeah, a little bit more pause would be helpful, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was sort of my instinct too. It felt like you acknowledged that there are things that you need to look at that you've been a little bit hesitant to.
Mhm.
So it's, possible that right now is the time that your inner being is pushing you a little bit to do that. And that can be uncomfortable, but it's sort
I'm
of,
finding balance with my life. I'm finding balance with the medicine.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And maybe stepping into that just a little bit slower still gives you that activation piece, but a little more time in between to kind of figure out what's happening and let those issues come up to the surface too, because it sounds
Mm,
like they're buried a little bit right now. And
yeah.
so if you're open to a different perspective, this sensitivity, like I was saying before, is not really a problem. It feels like a problem. It's not comfortable, but it's actually not. It's information, and your nervous system is showing you where you've been armored and where you've been defended, maybe where you haven't been feeling. And so that with that information, you can process to move forward. Um, so when you feel that sensitivity, it's uh, what maybe a practice would be not leaning into the how do I make this go away, but what is this sensitivity trying to teach me about my relationships and my emotions? What's happening here?
That's what I've been trying
So,
to listen to, but I haven't been happy with the answers.
oh, okay.
Well, just trying to find more balance. Like that means I'm going to have to make some changes.
Mhm.
And that's a little uncomfortable to look at,
Sure,
but I'm definitely, I hear it.
sure, sure. Are you comfortable sharing some of those changes and some of those messages you've been getting?
Oh, well, my work-life balance is just it's too stressful. I don't have enough time to truly feel and to really rest it's just really sending me a lot of messages that I'm overdoing it.
Yeah,
I got too much on my plate. I
yeah.
got too many irons in the fire, so to speak, and that it's like this it's almost making it the sensitivity making it kind of worse, like it showing me like how chaotic my life really is,
Mm.
so I could really see what's needed to change. And I have to back a few things off. And that part is uncomfortable because I don't want to, but I have.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. So it's really you're making a choice between what you know is best for your well-being, right?
That's what I'm seeing. And I can choose to ignore it and I could choose to keep my chaotic life.
Sure.
Or I could choose a little bit more peace but I'm gonna have to let a few things go and make some changes on that to do that.
Hmm.
That's the part that's a little uncomfortable to look at.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. Well, I'm hopeful that the medicine is supportive of you through this process because I understand that it is difficult. But the awareness is the first real step, right, to making those kinds of difficult life changes. And it sounds like you already have a deep awareness of what you need to do for you. And what's beautiful about what you're saying is it's not coming from anyone else, right? No one's telling you. I mean, I'm not hearing you say so and so is telling me I need this, or it's coming from within, which is the most authentic, real place for
Yeah,
you to
that's
come
interesting. I
from.
hadn't thought about it like it's not the medicine telling me it. It's more like the medicine is helping me see it.
Right, right. It's
So
already
that
there.
that does that's a different feeling,
Yeah.
I'm not being guided. I'm just sort of, being shown.
Mm,
I can do with what it I can do with it what I will, but it is hard. I have to make some of those choices for myself.
yeah.
So I'm hoping the medicine will really support me, and I'll see how it goes next week. If it's still too sensitive, maybe I'll find some more balance and back down a little bit. I'm not sure yet,
Okay.
but I got to
Okay.
keep going.
Sounds like you have a good sense of it. Are you open to learning about or discussing some integration practices that you might want to try this week?
I would like to actually because of that sensitivity. So I would like to, yeah, I'm curious, whatever you have to show me. I could
Sure.
really help. It could really help.
Okay. Great. Well, in all of our sessions, I bring practices to help. So this one is particularly helpful with the sensitivity that you were talking about. So this is called somatic tracking. And when sensitivity spikes, so when you were talking about that almost like PMS type of feeling, um, the challenge is to don't try to make it stop because what we as humans tend to do is something's uncomfortable and then we want to stop it because
Mm,
it doesn't feel good. And that's natural. But instead, just challenge yourself a little bit with getting curious. So you get the sensitivity, you get that, and ask yourself, where is it in my body? and and what emotions are under this sensitivity. So there's always something underneath. The sensitivity isn't a standalone experience, right? Something's happened to trigger that. And so what's underneath that? What's behind it? And then is there something in this feeling that wants me to know, right? We were talking before about how
like a
the
message.
yeah, the messages that you're getting from your emotions in your body, and what are those? What's happening? And so it's really just a matter of noticing and then journaling. So if you could write down what you're noticing, and then you can go back and look and see if patterns are emerging, and you might be able to connect some dots there that might be helpful.
And like tracking the sensation, like for the
Mhm.
week, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, just being really keyed into noticing your body reaction, your emotion reaction when the sensitivity surfaces. So again, rather than setting it aside or ignoring it or tamping it down, like leaning in from the perspective of what's really going on here and trying to get very present to yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so that's somatic tracking. And then the second one is a titration practice. And so again, if you're feeling flooded with emotion or that real strong activation, you can practice this titration, which is what you do is you feel the emotion for about 30 seconds or so, just allow it, just be with it and then ground yourself like we did in the opening, where with feet on the floor and breathing in deeply. And the next exercise we're going to do will help with this too. Um, but feet on the floor, grounding, and breathe into that for 30 seconds and then back to the feeling and then the grounding and just alternate back and forth like 30
Like so the
seconds.
emotion, like going into that emotion and then just kind of going into like my feet. Kind
Yeah.
of going into, okay.
Yeah, so feel it and then ground into your feet. Close your eyes, breathe deep.